Well, super excited. I am Tony Moreland, Senior Developer Evangelist at Samsung, and I have got with me today a special guest, Andrew Zanella from Jibber Jab Reviews. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, this should be a ton of fun. Andrew runs one of the biggest channels on YouTube that is dedicated to reviewing Samsung apps. I think when I checked lately, it was actually close to 6 million views that you have on your channel.
Yeah.
So
We just hit 6 million this month, so that's been great, and I think we're around just over 24,000 active subscribers. So
wow.
quite the journey.
That's huge. For those of you that don't know, before joining Samsung, I actually got my start designing watch faces. This was just sort of a side gig that I did. My background is as a freelance graphic designer, and it started creating some watch faces. And when I was looking to grow my brand and start promoting, I came across this video that was of a very well-known designer, Chris Shomo from Infinity Watch Faces, very successful watch face designer for Samsung. I saw a video that he did where he was presenting at SDC, our developer conference. I think it was 2018. And in that video, Chris mentioned Jibber Jab Reviews. And I know that actually was a huge plug for you as far as success goes in growing your channel, because I've spoken with a lot of developers when we're talking about marketing, and they all point to that speech, that presentation that Chris did, where he mentioned your channel. And that's how a lot of us, designers, when we were starting out, first discovered about how we can, market our watch faces.
Right.
So I quickly went to YouTube, did a search, found your channel, was blown away at all the content that you had already been producing, and quickly found a way to get my designs to you. You had done some reviews. I actually want to share my screen for a moment here, because this is something I'm pretty proud of.
I owe Chris Shomo, Coffees for Life, basically. Yeah. I think that was the contract that we signed. So yeah.
That's great. So just real quickly, here's my brand, Exier. Some of the watch faces that I designed. Just going to kind of scroll through that a little bit. But what I'm most proud about is this review that you did of one of my watch faces, which is called Velocity.
That's a while ago, yeah.
I've got 32,000 views on this, which is amazing. Right. This clearly is my top watch face that I've created. So that was, that showed me the power that your channel produces for developers like ourselves. So, so that's a little bit about me. So I want to ask a little bit about you, just so that we can get a good understanding of, who Andrew is and Jibber Jab, the channel. So let me start off by saying, how long have you had the Jibber Jab Reviews channel on YouTube?
So I actually started it back in 2016, and I blame my wife for this because she actually purchased the Gear S3 for me as a Christmas gift. And I started it, I think it was like the end of December, I created the channel. And it was really a way for me to share content with a large audience, because even back then, the Galaxy Store back in 2016, there weren't a lot of free watch faces, or at least a lot that I could find. It wasn't like today. Like today we have a huge selection. There's over 70,000 watch faces in the App Store. And back then I was finding it difficult to find a good free design. And so that's really how it started, because I was just like, I want to find something that I really like. And at the same time, I thought, why not have a channel that I could also share this content with others? Because, hey, maybe somebody else really likes the same designs that I do, or maybe they're just not aware of it. And at the time, there wasn't really a channel out there that was able to show that. So I thought, well, what the heck? Let's just try it and see how it goes. So that's really how it first started, is just being able to use YouTube as a platform to be able to share designs that I really liked.
That's great. Okay, so here actually is the main question, the big question, and that is, why the name Jibber Jab Reviews? where did that come from?
I know, like you could have chosen anything, right? But so yeah, to jibber jab really means just to talk about anything, right? It could be just something generic. Somebody just likes to talk. Obviously, I like to talk because I think I have about 1,200 videos now that are running, with the
Yeah.
majority of them being watch face reviews. Probably 1,000 of those 1,200 are just on watch faces. So Jibber Jab was just a kind of a fun way to make fun of myself. And also, I just thought it was a really relevant title for what I was doing. And it wasn't just watch faces as well. I mean, I also did review on the S3, the other devices. So it was just another kind of name to just jibber jab
Yeah.
about all kinds of tech related stuff. And that just kind of stuck after that.
Got it. No, no, I love the name, and it's definitely something that's easy to remember. So, when Chris said Jibber Jab Reviews, it wasn't like I had to jot it down. I mean, that
Right,
that stuck with me, and it was a quick
right.
search. So, where are you located? Because I will say
So,
that what's really interesting is that you review watch faces, and it's not just like the U.S. market. I mean, it truly is a global reach that you're doing with your watch face reviews.
so I am based out of Toronto, Canada. Actually, I live just in the Greater Toronto area in a smaller city called Milton. So yeah, represent Ontario out there. Way to go. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, developers are really worldwide. I mean, Chris Shomo, you mentioned he's in the US, but we have huge top tier developers like Matteo Dini based out of Italy. We have developers down in Brazil. Prado, Bruno Prado is another one. We have Bergen. He's from Uruguay. I mean, I can go on and on. There's for example, Persona. She's actually a female designer out of Turkey.
Wonderful.
So we have designers all over the place. So yeah, I mean, I happen to be here, but literally I'm talking every day to developers that are all over the world. And that's just what's amazing with the channel, that you can, and the community in general, that we can just kind of all interact the way that we do.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So one thing I want to say to everyone who's joined us today, thank you very much. You can tell that we love to talk. So please, please join us in this chat. If you don't want to jump on the mic, just send us a quick text in the chat window or in the Q&A. We'll definitely get to all of your questions and responses. But feel free to jump in and actually speak up if you would like to join our Jibber Jab chat that we've got going on. So you've done a lot of Samsung review videos. Can you talk about some of the technologies and topics that you review? You'd mentioned watch faces, but is there anything beyond watch faces that you do?
So yeah, I mean, in the beginning too, because I had the S3 and I wanted to do reviews on that, so I would go through the functionality of the smartwatch. And since then, of course, there was the Gear Sports, there was the Active series, both the 1 and the 2, the Galaxy Watch. So yeah, I mean, I do probably predominantly most of my reviews happen to be watch faces, and that's just because the developers see the value in that, and also the viewers, because hey, they're going to get something free out of it. So why not, right? It's a win-win situation. So that tends to be the majority of it. But yeah, absolutely. I've done reviews on the devices themselves. I've done reviews on themes. So for your smartphone, and I do that occasionally, as well as giveaways. I did a huge one last year for Kojo. When they released the Major League Baseball, they had the contract for doing all the themes for the teams, which was huge. So yeah, absolutely. It's not just watch faces, and I don't want people to think that's all it is. Obviously, that tends to be the focus because that's also what the viewers are asking for. But absolutely, I mean, I mix it up with all kinds of tech gadgets, which just happen to be more Samsung related because that's also my audience. So
Sure.
most of the smartphones and smartwatches and all that, of course, it's going to be all based out of Samsung because that's really my base, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I know that there's a little bit of a structure to your reviews, and one thing that is great is that you offer a coupon for a download. So, somebody wins a coupon. So for a developer that has submitted their watch face to you to review, they give you two coupons, correct? One for you to download the app, and then one for you to give away.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, going back again, when I started, it was just the free watch faces. I just wanted to share designs that I really enjoyed. But then as it kind of moved on and I was getting more and more interest, and my viewer base really started to grow, then I thought, well, why don't I review paid watch faces as well? Because there's a lot of great designs. But at the time, I thought, well, it's fine to do paid watch face reviews and that. But then I thought, well, I also want the viewers to get something out of it, not
Sure.
just the information and the content that I'm sharing with them, but why not give back to the viewers? And so I was actually the first reviewer that had the coupon idea. Let's give away stuff. And even
Yeah.
when I brought it up to developers, they're like, oh, well, okay, that's interesting. They weren't really sure how to react. And I said, look, just bear with me. Let's just try it. And I think we started giving away like 10 coupons at a time. So basically, yeah, they give me one coupon that I download, and then I can kind of go through and look at the watch face. I can test it both visually, what kind of customizations and comes with, but also the functionality of it. So I really get detailed into each watch face. And then after that, of course, when the review comes out, then we'd like to do that giveaway. And it used to be 10 coupons, but now, I mean, sky's the limit, right? Some developers have a certain fixed amount they want to give away, and others are just like, you decide. If you want 100 coupons to give away, you give away 100. So,
Sure.
so yeah, this kind of structure has worked really well, and I've got lots of positive feedback both from the viewers and developers, and they're happy to share it. I was a little reluctant bringing it up at first because you never know how they're going to react, but actually the feedback's been awesome. So that's the structure I've stuck with.
That's great. That's great. So I can either now show a little clip because I wanted the audience to get a chance to see what one of your reviews looks like. Is that something you want to share a little bit later, or should I jump right to that and show?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
Go for
sweet.
it, yeah.
Okay, so we've got here a review of one of the watch faces that you did recently.
Right. Yeah, this was, I think, just a day ago.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
and look at that. Within 24 hours, you already have 1,400 views on this watch face.
Right.
So we're just gonna let this video play a little bit.
Hey guys, welcome back to Jibber Jab Reviews, and I hope your day is going well, and I really do appreciate you all tuning in to this latest review and, of course, giveaway. Now for today's show, I want to share a very bold, sporty, and informative all-digital design from JND, and this developer has...
Some of these images in here we can actually talk about a little bit later because
Yes.
they're the free marketing tools that we can chat about.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I was going to mention that as well.
Today is another one that I'm going to be giving away, although there are limited codes handed out this time.
So this developer actually is a huge developer, but he hasn't done much with my channel, which was funny enough. So he contacted me, and I've known about him for a while, and I actually apologized to him because he does have such a great lineup of different watch faces, and this one is fantastic. But yeah, so he's actually new to the channel, but he's not a new developer per se. So that's the other part, right? I love to be able to show the viewers, new developers that I haven't shown on the channel before. Because again, we're talking
Sure.
about a Galaxy App Store that has over 70,000 designs on it, right? And that can be very frustrating to the users too, of like, okay, how do I even begin my search for a watch face, right? Or I wouldn't even know about this developer. So that's the other kind of benefit of my channel, is just giving exposure to developers that you may not even know about. And so that's why I mix it up. I don't want to keep the same developers all the time, the same designs. I like to mix it up with digital, hybrid, analog versions, and a variety of developers all over the world. So at least then you get that exposure that can feel overwhelming, like a sea of watch faces if you go in and try and search for these yourself. So that's kind of another benefit of the channel and being able to share this with the viewers.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I love the production too. I mean, you do a great job on putting these videos together. So I'm going to call out a little something here that I noticed just in this video here, and this is just by coincidence. I'm just going to go back a little bit. So are you familiar with some of these photos here? These backgrounds, a little bit of the history on some of these?
So
You may
yeah,
not.
I mean, it's something that I was going to mention in terms of developers when you're getting started, and you're looking for kind of free tools that you can use, and the asset creator is one of them, and this is the other one, which are your lifestyle photos, right? So you get a more professional look out of them. People can relate to them, right? This is something I could actually see my watch looking like and where
Yeah.
it's sitting and that sort of thing. So yeah, these are the tools that Samsung has available that I encourage all developers, especially when you're starting out, to be able to use these because they're awesome.
Yeah. So let me, for those who don't know, let me explain a little bit. So what I did is I created some, what I call lifestyle photos. And what it is that I actually went and took pictures of my watch on just unique backgrounds. but using the tools within Photoshop, I was able to turn it into a smart object where it makes it super easy for you to superimpose your design onto this photograph. So in this case here, this developer took my photograph and just copy pasted his watch face, and it automatically changed the perspective that you see, the lighting, all of it done. So all that, what we call photoshopping is all done instantly just with a click of a button by you just copy pasting your design into it. And I think right now to date, we've got 20 different photos. There's different lifestyle packs that you can download. You can find those on our website, which is developer.samsung.com. And I've been told that when the new watch comes out, I'm going to get access to the watch. So I'm excited about. I know we're going to be releasing a watch at some point here in the near future. So you can look for new lifestyle photos being published out there for you guys to download. So when I saw this video this morning when I was queuing one up, I was really happy to see that he is using my lifestyle photos. So we talk a lot about the global reach that your channel has. I'm curious, do you know, is there a top country or a top region that you see either developers submitting watch faces to you, or where your views are coming from?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of views, because YouTube has some great analytical tools built in. So I review that probably about on a weekly basis. I'll pull reports just to get an idea. But my top 5 countries, US is number 1, UK, India, Germany, and Canada are pretty much my top 5. And I would say probably for developers, it would be similar to that as well. I get a lot of requests from US-based developers, but like I said, they're all over the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say at least from my viewers, tends to be most in the US, tends to be male-oriented. That's just how it is, I guess.
Sure.
I think it's probably 90% of my viewers are male and 10%, but I do have a lot of female followers that are, they follow on a daily basis, which is awesome. So that's another reason, even when I do a review, I want to make sure that the watch faces I'm showing, if they have that female component, because a lot of more developers now are creating those designs where they have themes built in for females, then absolutely, that is something I definitely want to share. And that should be, shared amongst all viewers. Doesn't matter if you're male or female.
And you bring up a great point. Our push at Samsung is really to, bring in more female designers, more female developers, and also produce more apps that appeal to women. Truthfully, when it comes to the watch, I don't have the numbers, but I know I've been told that more females own the Galaxy Watch than males. So that tells you right there that the market, if most of the apps that are being produced are for the male market, you're missing out. You need to be producing for the entire market. So I know there was a period last year or earlier this year that the top selling watch face on the Galaxy Store was a female a developer creating a design that would appeal more towards the female demographic. So that was a big accomplishment, and we were super proud and happy to help promote that as well.
Right.
So can you talk about, since you've been doing a lot of these reviews, you see just thousands of watch faces all the time. Tell me, what are some of the traits that you see in a successful watch face? Give some tips on to, for developers, what works.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're designing, and I get this question a lot too, particularly from new developers that are asking me for advice, or, I'm just starting out. And, there's a couple things that I always tell them. One, keep it simple, right? Sure. So, the Galaxy Watch Designer software, it's amazing that you don't need to code, and it's interactive. It's very easy to use. But at the same time, it comes packed with a lot of functionality, which is great, but you don't need to put all that functionality into every single watch face you design. And so I always tell developers, keep it simple. If it's going to be a health-related face, then sure, you want to have your step count, maybe you want to have a speedometer in there, your heart rate, but you don't necessarily need to put everything in there, right? So keeping it simple, nice, easy design that's not overly cluttered. That's another thing. You don't need to, just because you have the space doesn't mean you need to fill the space, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
don't need to just pack it. Just because you have the ability doesn't mean you have to use it. So that would be one thing I would mention. Branding. So since we're talking branding,
Nice.
not that branding is important or anything, I don't
No.
wanna- yeah. But but seriously, when you're coming up with a brand too, you want to make sure that it's easy to remember, it's recognizable, and we're talking about people like Matteo Dini's great, his logo's very simple, but
Yep.
everybody knows MD watch faces. That's Matteo Dini.
Exactly.
Virgin has another one. He's got a very simple. It's just a B, but as soon as I see that, I know that's Virgin, right? So again, keep it simple like that. The other thing I would say is focus on a theme. So if you are doing something that's health related, maybe you want themes that are based around that. You don't want to be throwing in like spaceships in the background.
Sure.
Something like that. I mean, if it's a sci-fi watch face, sure, go nuts. You want to have astronauts and whatever. That's great, but it should really be focused on what is the purpose of this theme. Again, if it's going to be revolved around a certain look or style, then keep with that theme, because then it makes it easier for the customers or the viewers to relate to it. Like, I get it. Okay, yeah, I understand why some functionality has been left out or why some of it isn't. And for example, another one is like minimalist style watch faces. That trend started several months ago, and it's huge now. If you look at the top developers, pretty much every one of them has released a watch face which is minimalist style, meaning there's not a lot of extra buttons and bells and whistles on it. It's that clean minimalist style, right? So
Yep.
again, if that's your theme that you're going for, then there's no need to start filling it with other stuff. If you want to keep it easy to read, simple, larger font, great. So again, keep the theme consistent so it's relatable to the customers. Nice, easy to remember brand and name if you can. And build your logo around that as well, right? So whatever your graphic is, make sure that it stands out so that it really pops into people's minds. So I know, oh yeah, Virgin. I know that in a second. I don't even need to see the name. I just know the B, that's Virgin.
Exactly. Let me jump in a little bit on some of my experience with, everything you've talked about is just on point. When I started my brand, I was determined to have a super short domain name. I wanted something that was 5 letters. So, I'm on GoDaddy and I'm just like, and I wanted an X in it. So I'm just making up words. And
Right.
so I came up, I could get the domain name to Axeir, axeir.com, AXEIR. I built the whole website, built the brand, put out a bunch of watch faces, and then I went to this Samsung event and it was telling people about my brand name, and I would say it's Axeir, and they'd say, "Oh, awesome. How do you spell that?" And I realized right then I made a huge mistake, because anytime that I verbally wanted to tell somebody about my brand, I had to then tell them how to spell it, which just meant that they're probably going to forget it, later on. So for people building a brand, if you can get a brand name where the domain name is easy to remember and spell out rather than
Right.
making it difficult.
Right.
And then, I've been teaching some classes in watch face designing, and I often tell the students, and you mentioned this, a few times here, the minimalistic watch face is, I think, a wonderful watch face, because you have to remember this is a watch and it is for telling time. And a designer who fills up the screen, they're doing so when they're working it on their computer, and they've got this nice big watch face that they're working on. They're not seeing it realistic at that really, that really small size. So if you're fortunate to own a Galaxy Watch, when you're doing your designing, I definitely encourage you to test it on the watch, and not just stick it on your wrist. Go outside, see how that watch face works in the bright light. Get in your car, just driving through traffic. Do a quick glance at your watch. Can you tell what time it is? I mean, that's you don't want to have to sit there and look and try and figure out where the time is. So you need to do, it's like a practical design. So yeah, definitely, the suggestions that I make to students when they're first designing out. So another question for you: you've mentioned a bit about your channel and all the views and stuff, but tell me some of the benefits about actually having a watch face reviewed on YouTube. What are, what's the benefit behind that?
So the main benefit for the developers is just getting that exposure, right? Because I mentioned before that the Galaxy App Store, it has amazing selection, right? I can go in there, and if I want a digital watch, I can probably find 30,000 different digital watches. But the thing is, at least from my experience, the viewers, they don't want to be going through and spending all that time. Some of them know exactly what they want, and that's great. Or maybe they follow a Matteo Dini, and that's all they're interested in. But I feel that by having the reviews and mixing them up, you really have more exposure to that developer community, which you don't have access to just in the store, because it's really a sea of developers. And where do I even begin? Well, when I do the review, I spend time, and especially if it's a new developer, I'll give a little bit of feedback about them. I'll tell about their storefront, they have 5 watch faces, or maybe they already have 30, like the JND one that we were just looking at. So that's really the benefit, is just having that exposure that they wouldn't necessarily have before. Now, saying that though, there is also additional free stuff that they can use, such as banners inside the App Store, which definitely helps. But again, you can only have so many banners inside the Galaxy App Store.
Correct.
So that's really what the channel offers, is that extra level of exposure that you would not necessarily have.
Sure. So I had mentioned when I showed the one review video that you did that had over 32,000 views. So let's talk a little bit about that. What are developers seeing? When you review one of their videos, is there a spike in their downloads on the Galaxy Store?
Yeah, so some developers have actually shared their download stats with me, which is really great, because that also helps give me feedback on maybe what I need to tweak in terms of my reviews. And it varies. So there's a range. Typically, on average, a regular review will get anywhere from 1,000 views, 2,000, 3,000. But that being said, you can look at my channel. I have some videos that there's literally hundreds of thousands of views for a review. So there's many factors, right, that's involved in that. Part of it is, of course, having a great design. If you got a great design, you're going to get those views anyways, right? A following. If you have great designs, you probably have a following, and they're going to look forward to those reviews when they come out, because usually there is a giveaway attached to it as well. So there's motivation for people to tune in for that. So there's really a number of factors. And on top of that, there's also the YouTube analytics, which I can't control, in that, for example, this month, YouTube is now pushing all Jibber Jab videos to the top. So that will give even more exposure.
Nice.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's a combination of factors that are involved in the views, but typically on a day-to-day, we're looking at least a couple thousand, and that translates into several hundred to several thousand downloads. So that means increased sales, that means increased ranking inside the store, so that other people can find that watch face. It's going to show up in the top results. So just from those views and getting that exposure out there, it has a trickle-down effect that, sure, we have so many thousand views for the video, but in the back end, that's translating into downloads, translating into sales inside the App Store. So that's benefiting the developers directly. So there's that real benefit of this kind of marketing tool, I guess, for
sure. And it's a great way just to start building your brand. I know, as I had mentioned before, one of the first things I did when I thought about, hey, how can I build my brand, was reach out to you.
Right.
So that's great. So I know that you are working on the launch of a new website for Jibber Jab Reviews. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is something that I started, at least I wanted to get out there a while ago. And I got to give another shout out to Chris Shomo again from Infinity Watch Faces, because he's really helped me get that design out there. And he's been integral in helping me get through all those, I guess I would say, the technical aspects of it. So we actually just launched it this week. And it's still in early stages, but absolutely, I can give you kind of a quick look, if you want, of what we got set up. But So yeah, here's the website. So as I said, we just launched this week, so it's still pretty basic in that, you know, I only have a few menus set up here. But the way it works is actually it's bringing in all my review videos from YouTube, so that, which is really great, because then people don't necessarily have to be notified directly from YouTube that a new video has come up. They can come here to the channel, and it's really great. Here's the review actually that you just showed.
Okay.
And you can launch it right from here.
Oh, that's great.
So you can watch those reviews in there. There's comments, you can see, great design, just what I look for, which is great about viewers commenting. So you can watch it right within here, or you can actually launch it from YouTube. So you have a lot more flexibility. And the other thing is too, is I have a section called giveaways, and this is gonna bring in those latest giveaways that are active right now. So these are, you know, this one has limited coupons. Some of them are unlimited coupons. So you can just come here, click, see which ones are active, click on it, and get access to those coupons, which is great. The other thing that we put in here, and this is really for the developers out there, but if you want a watch face reviewed, then we created a form here that you can go in, put your information in, storefront link. And then as you go through, there'll be additional questions like, do you want to give codes away? How many codes do you want to give? Share the images that you use, your lifestyle photos or whatever it is, and I'll incorporate that into the review. So that form is created specifically just for the purpose of the developers to be able to request reviews. And then down here, again, there's nothing right now, but as we build this out, of course, there's going to be a newsletter that's going to go out. I'm going to have even more promotions and giveaways for users that sign up. And then you can just put your email in there and then you'll get notified. So it is a work in progress. You know, we just launched it, but the idea is that we're going to build this out as we continue. And even at the homepage here, you know, I want to make sure that developers are always getting that exposure. So we have the banners up here.
Wonderful.
All the banners, same kind of thing that you would see in the Galaxy App Store. And then we're going to hyperlink these, of course, right to their storefront. So there's going to be lots of opportunity for additional exposure for the developers. And I can show you even some other marketing tools if you like.
Yeah, that's one thing. You know, we talk a lot about YouTube. Obviously, you know, the main drive behind your channel is your YouTube channel. But I would love to also talk about some of the other social channels that you would recommend, you know, designers when they're trying to build their brand. How can they market using, you know, some other tools?
Yeah, so I mean, when you're starting out, obviously, you know, there's a lot to think about, right? And I get this a lot from developers, you know, where they actually will say, where do I start? And usually also when they're starting out, they don't have a lot of money for these purposes. So I always say, you know, then utilize what's there. So for example, I have Instagram and I have my own account set up. And again, you can see it. There's those reviews. There's the one from yesterday. So this is just another platform that you can use, a free platform. So every developer, when you're signing up, you should have your own Instagram account, because this is another way for you to build that following, right? I'm going to show my newest design when it comes out. Or you can add your own lifestyle photos. You can even upload those videos, and then you'll start to get a following. Now you can see I have about 2,000 followers here. But again, that's kind of like your beat, your heartbeat, right? Like what is the interest level for my brand? And I can see that grow. So I can actually track that. And there's analytics even in Instagram, as well as you can do paid ads inside Instagram as well. It's not that expensive. So it really depends on your budget, but you do have that option. But if you want to be free, great, you have that there too. Some other ones that you can use. Another one that I use is Telegram. Now, not everybody knows about this, but this is an online forum, and there are groups set up for specifically Samsung watch faces. I think there's a bunch of them. I think about 3 or 4 of them that I have here. I also have my own, again, I have my own account where I post the reviews, and you can set up your own. So again, this is free, right? It's just a little bit of time that it takes you to set up, but once you have it set up, you know, it's it just becomes routine. I have one review, I'm going to post it everywhere. Another one is MeWe. That's another social forum that you can post in. And then, of course, I also have Facebook, which everybody should have, right? Because everybody uses Facebook at some point. So again, create your own page or group for your brand name. And then what I do is I have my own as well. So this one is a general one. This is not a JibberJab site per se, but I have my own group where I can discuss with, I guess, 6,000 other people here about the latest, functionality on the watch face. It's also a chance for developers to share and promote their own brand as well. So again, this is just another free option that you can use. Plus, I also have my own, as I was saying, so I have my own group here, but you can also create your own. If you're Matteo Dini, he's got his own, Burgeon's got his own, and these are top tier developers, right? So there's definitely value in having that extra exposure. Plus, you also have, if you do have a marketing budget set already, you can use Facebook ads, you can use Google ads, right? Where you can really target your market and say, I'm only going to send this ad out to US to start, or I want to focus on the UK and I want males aged 20 to 40 or whatever the case is. So you can customize your ads around target groups. Again, if you have the budget, then it's worth at least trying, because then you'll get some feedback, right? You'll get those analytics to say, is it working? What is the engagement level? But if you're starting out, these are free tools. You can absolutely use these, and it will show that at least, you more professional, right? There'll be a certain level of credibility here. Like this isn't some guy in his basement just happened to roll out a design just for the heck of it. No, this is like a serious designer that wants to build watch faces for their customers, for their needs, that has a certain theme in mind. And it just adds to that, right? Credibility, and it helps build that following that you really need to be successful.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I want to speak a little bit on my experience with when I put my pages on Facebook and in some advertising, just to help a little bit from my perspective. So I did some paid advertising, and my feeling is that, and again, I didn't have much of a budget because I was just starting out and wanted to see if I could get some traction on designing and developing for Samsung. My takeaway was that whatever I would spend on advertising is pretty much what I would return on increased sales. So as an example, if I spent $100 on Google Ads, I would see an uptick in about $100 in more downloads. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's not a great return if you're thinking that, hey, I can spend a little bit and I'm going to get a lot of money, a lot of revenue based off of these ads. That's not the goal. But what it did do was grow my brand. So it just got my name out there. So I did it for a bit. But because I didn't want to invest a lot of money up front, I was looking for those opportunities to market more through the free channels, like you had mentioned, reaching out to YouTube and Instagram and just wherever I could post. At that time, I did not understand the power behind Facebook groups. So I love the fact that you're bringing this up, because I now know that, truthfully, Facebook is less about having an individual page and more about groups. That's what they want to promote. Their algorithms are picking up on the conversations that people are having. So, if you are wanting to use Facebook as a way to market and grow your brand, participate in other people's groups, post questions, post your question that then tries to pull them into your group or into your page. So in a sense, you're kind of plugging yourself, and Facebook starts picking up on all this, interaction between your brand and other groups. And next thing you know, you start moving up in the rankings. So hearing you talk about groups is huge. And another thing, I'll just jump in. I wanted to mention, you talked about that target marketing that Facebook allows you to do. Yes, you can totally target. Like you can say, I want this ad to show up for males between ages 20 and 40. But they actually let you drill down and get even more specific. And this really comes in handy for theme designers, because you can say, I only want this ad to appear with people who already own and are viewing the page on a Samsung device, and you can pick which device. So you can pick, the latest device, or the devices, just in the past couple of years. That way, that your ad is actually showing up to a truly potential customer. So I love the fact that they offer that that truly direct marketing.
Yeah, I mean, another piece that that I forgot to mention is, and you alluded to, is the feedback. That is huge, especially when you're starting out. To be able to have that feedback from customers or potential customers, that's gold, right? And you can get that feedback when you're maybe you haven't put the design out yet into the Galaxy App Store. It's something you just tried, but you want to get some feedback on it. Then that's great. You can use these forums. You can post the photos of it, and just say, hey guys, what do you think about this? And then see what that feedback is. It's the same thing when reviews come out. And I tell developers, as soon as a review goes live, come back like the end of the day and read those comments, because that is gold feedback. Maybe there's somebody tested a function and it wasn't working. And then all of a sudden they need to go back. That actually happened with one of the watch faces from Persona that had a weather-related watch face, and actually one of the functions wasn't working, and it was because of based on their device, and the developer didn't even know about it until one of the viewers actually left a comment. So that's it's gold feedback to be able to have that, so that you can go and make those either updates to the watch face, tweak minor edits, whatever it is. These are your customers, so you definitely want to listen to them and try and incorporate what they're saying. What are their needs? What are their requirements, right? You can use this to motivate you for your next design.
That's great. That's great. I'm going to grab the presenter back. Was there anything else that you wanted to share on your screens? Did you have any other?
Yeah, the only other thing I want to mention, and obviously my channel is here, but since I was just scrolling as we were talking about Facebook, is, there are other reviewers out there, and, Hux World, I just happened to find as we're going through. Hux World is another reviewer out there. He does great stuff. I think he's probably been doing it around the same amount of time as I have. He does a lot of tech gadgets, but he does a lot of watch faces as well. And he's actually posting in my my group. So there you go. That's
great. I did
the love.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
The only guy out there, obviously. But yeah, it's just more opportunity for the viewers, right?
Yeah, I had reached out to Hux World when I was pushing my watch faces out for review, and he was kind enough to review some of my watch face designs. So, right. Yeah, much love out to Hux World. Okay, so we're talking a lot about different ways to help promote your apps. What about newsletters? Do you have any knowledge on like email-based e-blasts, email-based newsletters?
Yeah, so this is something that some developers are really spending a lot of time in creating that, and there's a benefit to that as well. So if you look at, for example, Burgeon has their own, Persona has their own, Matteo Dini. So yeah, it's definitely a great way to build your customer base by having those emails, because then you can get access to, letting them know notifications. Hey, I got a brand new design out. Or maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's to get feedback. Hey guys, I'm working on this new design. What do you think about it? Or it could be even for giveaways. So kind of what I'm doing. I want to give out coupons or whatever the case is. So just having that interaction between your customer is huge, right? It's having that personal connection. And you need to have that if you want to have a successful design, because like I said, they're going to give you feedback on what they like and also what they don't like, but that's okay, because it's critical, good feedback that you can use. And especially like in the Persona example that I used, she actually had an issue with one of the functions, and then the viewer let her know about that. So that was actually helpful, not just for the viewer itself, but for her to be able to address those issues and update the watch face, which she did actually shortly after that. So yeah, definitely the newsletter is one way that you can have kind of the pulse of your viewers, as well as you can incorporate that into your forums, into your Facebook groups, into your website. So again, encourage developers to have their own website, and you can kind of all bring that together, right? It's kind of like an octopus, right? That's kind of like the community is starts here and then it just spans out. And you want to make sure that you're grabbing as many of those different views that you can, whether it be the YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're capturing as much of that as you can. And that's just another way that you can do it is through these newsletters.
That's great. I also, for those that don't know, and I'll talk a little bit more about this a little later, I host a podcast for our developer program. It's called POW, Podcast of Wisdom. And I did an interview with Vienna Studios, Tomas Linschek, a great designer, amazing, very successful designer. It's crazy what he is charging and getting on his watch faces. I mean, he builds beautiful watch faces. He sells them in the hundreds of dollars for a watch face, and he is very successful. So one of the things that he has done is to build this large following using an email database. So people sign up for his newsletter, and he sends out promotions that way. And he actually does watch giveaways. So sign up for his newsletter, you get your name put into the contest, and I think it's at the end of the month, he'll draw a name and send that person a Galaxy Watch. And his newsletter group following is blowing up. I mean, I can't remember the numbers, but go back and listen to the podcast if you haven't. But he, super successful and has found a great way to really grow his band in a short amount of time. He's only been doing this for less than 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Quit his day job and has an office and he's lots of success. So let's talk a little bit more about discoverability. So you had touched briefly on banners. So I'll just speak up a little bit about this before you jump in. So we call it a banner promotion. And again, if you go to our website, you can learn about banner promotions. This is where you submit your design for a banner ad that would appear on the Galaxy Store. There's no cost to it, but a lot of people are making these requests. So it's a great way to build your brand, but you cannot have this be your only way for discoverability. So let's talk a little bit about that as well, because I know there's some other options for discoverability.
Yeah. So the banner for sure. I mean, when you have a good collection at that point, I mean, a banner, usually it's because you're advertising multiple watch faces, right? You don't have one watch face or two. Usually you already have a collection and you want to get it going. So I would recommend it, wait until you probably get about 4 or 5 good designs out there, and then you can do the banner promotion. And again, this is free, but like you said, everybody wants to get in there, right? And they can only have so many banners. And I think there's like about a month delay on the request. So
yeah.
So it is an option for sure. It's something that everybody should be utilizing. There's also the Galaxy Store badges, right? Which is the direct link for purchasing those watch faces. It's recognizable, it's trustworthy. It brings an extra layer of basically credibility to your brand and provides that one-click access, right, to your marketplace. And you can also get statistics on it. I think you can show the different device types and all that. So again, this is free. Guys, use these tools from Samsung, right? These are your disposal, and again, just gives you extra exposure. You can use the badges anywhere. You can use it on your website, Facebook groups, whatever the case is, right?
Yeah, badges are huge.
Yeah, so those 2 items, and then like I said, use those tools, the asset creator, your lifestyle photos. That will definitely help make your brand stand out. It will make it look more professional, which again, when you combine all this other social media platforms of whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., when you start getting it out there, that's how you're going to build your brand and have that exposure because of these tools. So make sure you're utilizing all these freebies. And then it's that octopus idea again, start to spread it out. And if you look the part, right, you're going to get a following much faster than if you try to do everything yourself, right? You literally can't do everything. So that's why make sure you use these tools. or reviewers such as myself to get the message out there for you, I'll take that on for you, right? I'm going to do the research, right? I'm going to do the research. I'm going to talk. I'm going to create the scripts. I'm going to do all that work for you. You just give me the information, right? So again, use these resources that are out there because it's really going to help build your brand faster and get that following that you need.
Yeah, no, that's great. I want to talk a little bit about, so you had mentioned Asset Creator. I spoke about the lifestyle photos, which it's the same engine. I mean, I've built them the same way, but
Right.
for those who don't know, the Asset Creator, it's a free, basically Photoshop template file that you can download from our website, developer.samsung.com. And what it allows you to do is to quickly create the assets that you need to create for uploading your watch face when you're selling it to the Galaxy Store. So they have what's called the icon, which is what everybody sees when they're scrolling through all of their, all of the different options for purchasing. Then once you select a watch face that you're interested in, you then see all of the graphics that are associated with that. They're called screenshots. So this is where you're now swiping through different images. And what I've done is made it really easy for people to produce those images. I've included all the different watches that we have. So you can take your watch face, just again, copy paste, and then boom, it appears in whatever watch you want it to. At the correct size, and it automatically generates, exports all of the images for you. So if you haven't already, if you're not familiar with it, it's the Asset Creator. You can even just go to our website, go up to the search field, and just type in Asset Creator, and you'll see some blogs and videos that I've created, the show about it. So one thing I want to point out also, when you're going through these screenshots, you have the ability to put in a video link. And what's wonderful and what I've done is I've put in the video link for your review. So on like that Velocity watch face that I did, the video link that I have for people to go in, first thing that they see when they click on that watch face is now your video, and they get to go and just watch it right on their device when they're deciding do they want to purchase it.
Perfect.
So yeah, it's a great way for us to work together on helping promote that. And videos are huge, because you can tell a story in a video. So even when you're using tools like Instagram, it's easy to throw up a picture, but I've been told, and I've seen this, if you can post a video, you'll have a much better engagement with your Instagram crowd. So try and not just put stills when you're using Instagram. Try and use videos in Instagram. You'll have a much better success with growing your brand.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let me check my notes here and see. We're covering a lot of things here. So one question I want to ask you, do you have any recommendations on frequency? I know some developers are trying to put out a watch face every day. Some developers are doing it, once a month, if not longer. What would you say is a good number, for frequency?
I mean, it depends on what your goal is, right? When you're first starting out, I think you want to get that feedback. You want to get those first couple designs out there. I personally wouldn't recommend you doing a design a day. I think
Sure.
You're going to just kill yourself, number one. And also, like I said, you want time to be able to kind of get a better gauge of how that design appealed to people. So whether that be getting feedback directly from them or just basically watching the statistics for the next week or two in terms of their downloads and sales, right? So I would say, maybe once a week is a good way to start. But again, it all depends on what your purpose is. I mean, if it's revenue driven and you really want to get them out there, sure, you can start pumping them out. But again, those sales and downloads are going to be based on that design. So just because you put a watch face out there doesn't mean it's going to be a hit, right? Every
Sure.
watch face isn't a home run. And you can't go into this thinking, this has got to be the one. This has got to be the one. I would say pace yourself. Take that time to get that feedback from the customers. Take that time to see what the reaction is like in terms of your sales data. And then look at these other promotions, whether it be the banner, and try that after you've got a few and see what kind of impact that banner had. And then you can kind of use that information into your next design. I released this all digital watch face, didn't have a lot of great appeal. Maybe I had too many functions on it. maybe I didn't stick true to my my theme. Maybe it was, overly complicated. Whatever the case is, right? You don't want to be pumping out these designs just to get a design out, right? You want to be able to take that time, look at that feedback, and what do I need to tweak? So again, it's going to be different for everybody. I don't necessarily say there's one winning formula, but I would say probably once a week is good. It gives you some time to analyze what that last one did, incorporate maybe some of those features into the new design, and also gives you time to like build your following, right? So they're not just like just pushed into like, here's another new design, go buy it. I think it's something to be said that you give a little bit of time and you have the customers really kind of give you that feedback that you need.
That's great. Great suggestion. And I will mention that if you do decide to submit for a banner promotion, the team at Samsung actually looks at the analytics behind your downloads. Right. So this is not for the person who's just created their first watch face. They want to see that you have some traction, that you have some designs, that they are cohesive, that you are leveraging social channels. So they want to know, do you have a Facebook page? Are you having your videos or your watch faces reviewed on YouTube? What are you doing outside of Samsung to promote your watch face? They want to ensure that you're not just thinking that the banner promotion is your only way. So do all of that effort, and once you've got some great experience behind all of that, and you've got something to show, then you can apply for the banner promotion. You have a much better chance of actually being selected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think those are good points.
Yeah. So earlier you had mentioned about people submitting their watch faces and their apps and themes for you to review, but just repeat again. If somebody wants to ask you to review their app, what do they do?
Right. So right now, like I said, you can go to our website, jibberjabreviews.com, and there is a form there which you can fill out with all that detailed information. And then I'll get a copy of that, and then I'll contact you directly to talk about the details. So that's one way. Like I said, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm pretty much everywhere. So if you Google me, you'll find me somewhere. But yeah, reach out to me. I'm crazy requests. I get multiple requests actually per day now. So I'm already booking into next week. I gotta go do a review after this actually. But yeah, absolutely. Send me an email. I try to get back to you as soon as I can, and we'll definitely get a promotion out there for you, and I'll put it on obviously YouTube and all my other channels. So that's all included. It's going to go through.
That's wonderful.
Octopus social media links out there.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So I'm going to switch screens here because I want to let people know how they can also reach us if they have some questions. If you are a developer and you've got questions about your apps when you're designing them, you can reach us at developer.samsung.com/support. So this is through our website. You actually submit a support request. That is one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just send us an email, support@samsungdevelopers.com. This will generate the same request that would be generated if you're using the website form. If you have questions, if you're already a seller and you have questions about your seller office account, the way that you reach support is actually called a one-to-one inquiry. And you do that through the seller.samsungapps.com website. And that's how you submit your inquiry for a support there. And then lastly, I love to chat just like Andrew loves to chat. So you can just send me a direct email, tony.moreland@partner.samsung.com. I will respond to you. I am always chatting with developers and giving them suggestions or pointing them in the right direction, or even just helping make some connections. If you want to follow me on all of my social channels, it's Axier Buzz. I will spell that for you. It is AXEIRBUZZ. That's where you can follow me. This is how you can connect with us on the developer channels for our developer program. We've got our Facebook page, our Twitter account, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and of course our website. I'm going to leave that up for a moment. So go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And because I want to promote it even further, this is my podcast. So it is POW, Podcast of Wisdom. I've got some great interviews. I've been fortunate to interview like the team at Microsoft Turn 10 Studios. They're the ones who created Forza, the game for Forza. I just did an interview with them. I've interviewed Gameloft people. They have a game called Asphalt 9. I've got some great Samsung people that I've interviewed. I have just booked, this was yesterday, I just booked interviewing Chris Shomo at Infinity Watch Faces. We're going to be recording a podcast here in just a couple weeks. It'll be published next month. Super excited to bring Chris onto the podcast. That's going to be a blast. So, hey, I absolutely want to thank you, Andrew, for taking the time to sit down with us, do this live chat. It's been a blast. You know, Jibber Jab is the perfect name for you. You do love to talk.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for taking the time, and
Thanks so
we'll talk
much.
to you soon.
Great.
Okay.
Take care,
See ya.
everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.